Welcome to the Hunters Hub, a Monster Hunter community podcast for hunters by hunters. Welcome, hunters, to Hunters Hub episode 20. We're getting up in those numbers there. And today we are joined by Ariel again. Welcome.
What's up, guys?
And Loborin returns.
Aloha, everybody.
Got the whole crew and a whole guest of Fry.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
So, Fry, little introduction. You are the master Doot, as I understand it.
I wouldn't put it so far as saying I'm an expert, but I've put my time into the horn, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, so we like to get to know our new guests here. So for introductions, we kind of like to hear how you got into Monster Hunter, what was your first game, and that kind of stuff. And then your top 3 monsters so far, and then what weapon you use. But we did mention that, hunting horn. So take it away.
For sure, yeah. So this is my first Monster Hunter game. Absolutely loving it. I played a little bit on the Wii U. I think it was 3rd generation. Had an okay time there. I didn't grasp any of the concepts right off the bat. It wasn't really for me.
I mean, it's kind of like being thrown into a Shark Tank. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, hey, here's the hub. Okay, thanks. Just sheer panic across my face. Yeah, I've put 200 hours into the game so far. Mostly focusing on the hunting horn. I've used the charge blade among other things. But the hunting horn is where I've fallen in love. My top 3 monsters right now, or I guess as I encountered them, Radabon. He was super intimidating and a really fun fight the first time I came across him.
Okay.
Also really liked Anjanath and the Kieran fight, surprisingly. I really enjoyed the first time I came across it.
Nice. Kieran is actually my number 3, and that's surprising to a lot of people, but...
It's a fun fight.
Yeah. Cool. So, that was a quick intro. That's good, though. We got a lot to talk about today, because we were talking about endgame, since you're 200 hours in. So, endgame, there's a lot to go into it, but just so people have a context of where we're at and what we can really speak to, we'll start out with you, Ariel. How far have you gotten at this point?
I'm full on endgame. I've surpassed HR 100. I've done all the quests, and I'm currently working on which we'll get to later, arenas. But I'm even at the point where I'm making up carrots on a stick for so to speak. I'm making up things for me to do, simply because I've reached the end of the game's natural cycle. Without G rank, it seems a little bit shorter, and I say that a little with some trepidation because I'm 240 hours in, so that's a relative short is a relative term, but yeah, I'm at that point where like last week I mentioned I made all the great swords, and so now I'm just gonna go down the line and working on all the sword and shields as I continue to do arenas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the arenas are tough.
Yes, it's hard.
I mean, for me personally, they're not that fun.
No, I agree.
Especially the Azure Rathalos. I actually find the 2 harder ones where there's a Radoban and an Urigan in the special arena, and a Diablos and a Black Diablos in the special arena. Those were more fun than the solo Azure Rathalos. To me.
But yeah, that's where I am.
What is your strategy then for finding arena groups, by the way? Because every time I go hunting arenas, there's never anybody who's actually willing to do them. They're all flagged arena, but then everybody's out on expeditions and SOSs.
I
can't find arena rooms.
Well, I mean, if you want to do them, I can do them with you, but I did them solo.
Did you actually get the S rank solo?
No, I didn't get any S ranks.
See, that's what I'm trying to do, because I want to actually S rank them.
Oh, I mean, I can help you with that. I think we can do it, but no, I just did it just for the trophy to do the 50 arena quests.
Okay.
See, and I have to do them for every weapon.
Yeah, because some of the arena weapons are actually pretty decent.
The great sword is really good. So that's the only great sword I don't have. I did say I have all of them, but I meant to say all of the regularly accessible ones.
Yeah, those getting those coins and tickets and that kind of stuff just for those weapons is a little hot. Cool. So Loborin, where are you at?
So I am currently raising my hunting rank so I can fight a tempered Kieran.
Okay, so pre-49.
Yeah, I'm sitting around, I think, 43, 44, 45. It's just the process of just keep doing quests so I can get up there. I've just been, unfortunately, pretty busy lately, so I haven't been able to sit and play a bunch.
Yeah, that's happened to me recently.
But I did complete a goal of mine. I finished the Odogaron Dual Blades, so I have my Sin. And I am looking forward to using that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I hadn't looked into the Odo
They
duels.
look amazing.
They're dual chain commas. So like basically little hand scythes.
Oh.
And they have two hanging off each weapon in each hand. So you're technically swinging around with 4 blades. And it has a large white sharpness bar that does not need handicraft, and it has, I think, 20% affinity naturality. So,
yeah, the only thing I know about Odo equipment, other than I used it initially in high rank because it was pretty decent gear, but apparently the new waifu material is the female one. There was a lot of stuff on Reddit about that today.
Oh yeah, it looks nice.
Okay,
I think
if you want to talk waifu material for equipment, you're looking at female Kieran armor because you're not wearing anything.
I mean, there's a lot of revealing in the Odo gear.
I have figured out though, Odo seems to be kind of this generation's version of Nargacuga. Very sharp weapons, very crit high weapons, and very attractive armor sets.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of the replacement. Also, Odo's that fast-moving, hard-hitting thing that can combo you.
I don't know.
But that's where I'm at. So
I think you just crushed a lot of hopes and dreams there.
What do you mean?
Everyone's wanting Narga back. Like, it's Narga, Tigrex, and...
I mean, I think he'll come back. I really think it's going to be, like, Narga, Zinogre, Tigrex, pretty much anybody who's been in a box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any flagship for sure.
But which hopefully means Gore too. But
yeah, Zinogre.
Well, they've given themselves such an open platter to work with, right? Like you can have them as just arena quests, so you can make them exclusive or limited time, so you can really see people who put the hours in during. The openness of the event.
Right.
I mean, they've got such a nice system to build upon that I could see them doing a lot with it.
I mean, honestly, I hope they fully integrate them.
I'm also worried, by the way, because like I said, the whole reason I'm trying to raise my hunter rank right now is so I can fight Tempered Kieran.
Yeah.
All of my armor sets have negative a lot.
Yeah,
thunder resistance.
It's tough. The Xenojiva is the one you want. From what
Okay, because I've been using 4 wrath pieces, which means I die if something gives me a static shock.
For whatever reason, so I've been using this for a long time now, probably over the past 150 hours, because I'm almost to 300 hours. The Kushala Valhazak mix set that I've been using this whole time, it actually doesn't have bad lightning resistance. It's negative, but it isn't bad. And I just switch out the evade extender Kushala legs for Kieran legs, and that gives me enough lightning resistance. It's not a lot, but it's positive. So
yeah, we'll do that.
and it awakens weapons, but I don't use anything that needs awakening, so meh.
Plus side, if I ever fight something that is actually dangerous that uses fire attacks, my main armor set has 25 fire resist.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm like negative everything but water. So I guess Jury taught us F you.
Coming for you, Jerry.
All one water monster.
Yeah. Well, technically Baroth could do some water with his mud, right? That's water.
Yeah. There we go. Let's bring in oh crap, Shark Boy, so we can have more water monsters.
Lagaya? No.
Shark Boy, you talking about Zammy or Plazia?
Yeah.
Zammy.
He was.
I will be glad if Plesioth gets lost forever.
I mean, Plesiath is the actual water monster. Zammy's ice.
Oh, you're right. We need what is it?
Title Naharala.
Oh, gosh. No, the Mitsu's. I don't know the name. Mitsune, yeah.
Mitsune. Yeah, that's a
the
good
one
water
that we
one.
want. That we should get in this game. It's meant for this game.
Yes.
Like in the core, like a water monster coming out of the coral reef or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it would. The color wise, it fit
Yeah.
the Coral Islands too.
Oh yeah. Imagine that music coming back to you. Oh goodness.
Also, it seems like one of those monsters where, kind of like Toby and Egbert,
Kulu.
where they just don't aggro you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just walk up to it and it'll look
Yeah.
at you and just kind of walk away.
I could see that.
But anyways, before going too off topic, yeah, that's just where I am, just grinding up levels.
Cool. We talked a little about where you're at, Fry. So you said you're almost 200 hours in. And then what are you trying to do at this point?
Right now I say I'm 200 hours in, but a lot of that has just been like discovering the game and really enjoying it, really taking it all in. I'm at I think I'm at HR 60 right now. Just been farming some tempered stuff, trying to learn some more mechanics a little bit more in depth, really focusing on trying to tighten up my gameplay, so I can just go and solo that triple tempered at HR 99.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Cool.
It's been a blast. I've enjoyed every single one of those hours. So
you said this was your first one,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I find it funny that both the people who said this is their first Monster Hunter chose the least popular weapon as of right now to have as their main weapon.
I mean, that's just the support all-star in me coming out. Every game I've ever played, be it Overwatch or World of Warcraft, League of Legends, what have
Rest
you.
in
It's
peace,
all
Mercy.
been support. Everybody needs a support.
Yeah. Oh, cool. For me, as I mentioned, I'm almost 300 hours in. I think I just clocked in my 294th hour earlier today. Been playing a lot. I had a lot of free time up until the past 2 weeks, but I'm still getting as much time as I can. I have finished every quest, every optional. I have been crown farming, and for those who don't know what that is, it is fight a monster until you find the smallest and the largest categories that you can. It is the last trophies that I need to get. I still haven't discovered Lavasieth all the way. He's the last one I have to get the research nodes on to finish that achievement, but crown hunting for him, we'll get that for sure, so I'm not in a rush to do that. I did solo the HR 100 quest. I've done everything you can quest-wise, and it's just doing events and investigations to try to get crowns. Still have not got one for Puke Puke.
Yeah.
You have to give us the final total when it happens. I want to know how many quests it took.
135
Jeez.
so far.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, Arctic, our host from last time, or our guest from last time, managed to get a gold Kushala.
Nice.
It is the gold big Kushala. It is terrifying. It is big. Like, some of the crowns, like you may have mentioned it, some of the crowns don't look that big when you see them. Others are clearly bigger. He's one of those ones.
Yeah, there's a tiny Palumu today, just before I put the girls to bed today. I was playing with some friends, and my goodness, this thing was diminutive for sure. I already had a gold crown small Polymoo that felt pretty small, but this thing, it was like, holy cow. I'm trying to think of a size comparison. It was like a normal size Great Jagras. It was just,
Oh wow.
it was just tiny.
Just a cute little fella.
Yeah, it actually, it does everything in millimeters, I think, is everything in. It was 1,000 millimeters, like 1,070 or something like that. So we're talking like pretty darn small. So it was, it was crazy how small that thing was. But yeah, so that's the context we have with where we're going with this, and so basically the end game is tempered.
Right.
So the first one that we come across, or at least that we're going to talk about, is there's the mechanic of tempered monsters, which basically it's the same monster but it does more damage. And a lot of times they're just investigations. Sometimes you can get optionals with tempered. But they give you these special gems and other items, skill gems for sure, to help slot into your gear slots. But the first real challenge you get, which we did end up helping Lobo with, is the double basil. There's 2 basil geese. And what is the cap for that? 29, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, 29.
So this is right after you finish Xeno'jiiva for some people. But Xeno'jiiva is like kind of like the last monster. It's definitely the story boss. Big monster, big fight. It kind of follows the same, I guess, style as the big lumbering siege monster for the mid-game boss, and the end-game boss being a giant, very scary monster that ends up not really hitting you as much as you thought it would.
Yeah, it's surprisingly easy. Time-consuming, but easy.
Yeah. And super weak to poison.
Still haven't figured that out yet, but I'm just gonna kind of accept it.
Yeah. I just coincidentally used the Rathian longsword on it, and it was like, wow, that thing is really poisoned quick. But yeah, so to the double basil geese, which Lobo, you recently just finished with Ariel and I. We didn't have a fourth. Yes. I think we just 3-manned it. So thoughts on double basil?
I hate him.
Terrifying.
So much.
Great fight.
I told you guys this prior to you helping me out, but he will regularly 100 to 0 you if you get caught in explosions, and it's very easy to get caught in the explosions unless you're paying super amounts of attention. Right.
For sure. I didn't find the double basil that challenging. I did fail my first attempt, but I mean, I failed my first attempt at Anjanath in the story. So it doesn't really say much. I mean, sometimes you just have an off hunt. But for me, what kind of solidifies that fight is the fact that tempered basil, which both of them are tempered, he's not really constantly mad, but he's constantly glowing, which makes his bombs go off quicker.
Is that not his enraged state?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what he does when he's enraged. I'm not sure if he's just enraged in that state or if he's just glowing. I mean, he could be enraged that whole time. But yeah, it's a tough quest for sure.
That's definitely the hardest part of the fight. I found was walking up, him being immediately glowing, and you just sit. Okay, let's wait for an opening. Waiting. Okay, here's an opening. Go, and then right back to enraged.
Yeah.
Yeah. What helped a lot was when I finally did it with Fortuan, Ariel.
Yeah.
Was it Ariel there? By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Fortuan Ariel was using flash bombs and using dun bombs and just use the items that you can take with you.
Prepared hunter's a living hunter.
It turns out flash bombs Turns out flash bombs make Basil into a flailing fish on the ground who doesn't get to do anything.
Right.
Kudos to Ariel for those amazing flashes.
I have a lot of
Yes.
practice.
I mean, I was flashing him too, but I was flashing him at the easy points. Like, oh, he's up in the air here. Ariel's getting him while he's like freaking
Yeah,
straight.
you've really gotta look as soon as he gets up and flies away, and there's no exclamation point. You know he's gonna swing back around to do the bomber run, and from there you just flash him as soon as possible. It's kind of like the Pink Wrath when he does his first flip, or as soon as he does his flip, the Wrath and the Pink Wrath. That's you want to get your flash bomb out because he's gonna stand in the air just for a moment when you can pull it off.
Yep. That's true. I do want to point out Wrath is a girl.
Right.
one of the few dimorphed monsters. Although, still hoping we get Lunastra soon.
Oh, I did want to point out. Speaking of strong girls who don't need nobody,
Okay.
Arctic was fighting Black Diablos today,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, I think I fought one once without like registering, and wow, Black
yes.
Diablos is a lot more aggressive than I remember, and I finally did get to see the Diablos times Diablos fight go down,
Mm-hmm.
and that was awesome. And also, he got a silver large Black Diablos, and it was huge. So I want to see what a gold crown looks like.
Yeah. I was doing the what something in the desert. I can't. There was a name.
Rumble in the Desert.
No, that's an optional. There was some other name for.
Oh.
It was like Bolero in or something. But
Weird.
basically, all of these get a bunch of gold crown quests are named after some sort of song, like some type of song.
Oh, okay.
I said Bolero because I remember Bolero Fire from Legend of Zelda. But anyways, the desert one that has the gold crown stuff, I did see a gold crown Diablos, which is the only one I don't have out of that list. Large. But I actually died because I could not dodge him coming out of the ground. He was actually so big that sprinting full away was not a good enough dodge of him erupting out of the ground.
Wow.
So they can get big.
All right, let's get to let's talk about our tempered I guess more tempered experiences. We do start with what the Kieran, right? I mean, well, first you have the double Basil Geese, and then the Kieran is, I think, the real another wall that a lot of people hit in this game. It's and I don't think anybody really runs into an elemental, such a spike in elemental damage as you do when you get across the tempered Kieran. It's rough.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching a lot of people, and I think the other thing that stands out is there's a lot of attacks going off at once when you're fighting Kieran.
Yeah.
Like, generally, if you're fighting a monster, you just have to stare at the monster, and that's fine. But Kieran rarely attacks you with his physical self. There's lightning bolts everywhere. There's the lines of lightning bolts everywhere. There's just a lot of things happening, and none of them are weaker than the other. They're all max damage.
My uncle was like HR 43.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I'm so excited for this Kieran. I'm gonna counter the crap out of it. And I was just like, I don't know. I just don't know how good your counter is gonna be when like lightning's running from the sky. And we hop into it, right? I go to help him, and he's literally on the like one of the bottom platforms as the lightning's raining from the sky. And as soon as he climbs up onto it, the lightning hits him and he dies. And he's like, what just happened? He's like, dude, that's Kieran. You gotta get you have to be on your A game, especially and that's when he's like, yeah, I gotta go upgrade my armor and get some lightning resistance and stuff like that. But Kieran is definitely a wall, one of the true end game wall that you have to climb before you can really get into the tempered hunt mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely He's always been a nuisance to players ever since Monster Hunter 1, right? I mean, Kieran has always been like that weird off-horse monster that no one wants to fight, because it jumps around like a Kelby. It is fairly fast. It does a lot more damage than you think it would do. I don't know if you guys ever saw videos from Monster Hunter Freedom Ultimate, which I don't. Is that where you started playing, with, Ariel?
3U on the DS.
Okay, so if you guys ever saw videos, or I experienced it with Kieran in Freedom Ultimate, or he was in Freedom 2 also. Kieran's charge that you do now, he's sort of like you sort of get like knocked away in this one, and the thunderbolts like follow behind him. That charge, it wouldn't make you roll. It would do that animation where it knocks you on your butt, and it'd be like, oh, okay, I didn't get hurt that much. But then your health keeps going down. So that's like how big hits worked. It's like, when you take a mega potion in the previous games, and your health increases, but it like increases not like immediately. It's like a really fast like charge up. It's like you would get hit, and it's like a really fast charge down. Like you're seeing your health just go. You're like, oh god, did I die? What happened? Yeah, it's always had a lot of damage. Yeah, previously both physical and elemental, but yeah, it's always had that strong elemental just kick. And people are getting to experience just how powerful that creature is. And a lot of people are hitting the end game content because surprisingly it's a lot quicker to get to in this monster.
I agree with that.
Well, actually I won't say surprising because they've paired up the single player and multiplayer mode into one mode.
Yeah, they'll speed it up. So you're right.
Yeah, I think that's probably honestly why I think it feels a lot shorter, is because I used to. There was a long single player, and then now I have to go back and do all these to get back into multiplayer.
Yeah, I was on Reddit today, and people were talking about like the 7.5 million sales and how it's doing so awesome, and everyone's getting into it. And there was a couple of people like, yeah, I played 10 hours and I just couldn't get into it. And I was thinking to myself like, man, that's nothing.
Anything.
Like you didn't even do anything. But I'm
sorry. How do you play something for 10 hours and not be into it?
There's people like me who, I know that people don't like when I say this, but I don't like Red Dead, and I was very mediocre on Red Dead for the first like 15 hours I played of it, and then it sort of ended like 2 hours later, and then I hated it.
Yeah.
I was like, there's always that thing like you want to like something, and it's just you're thinking it's gonna come, and then something else sets you off. You're like, okay, I'm done. It's like the final straw or something. I can understand how people don't like it playing a long time. It's just like I was thinking to myself, like 10 hours is not a long time, but 10 hours in on this one, I was already doing HR 4 or 5, and it was like still HR 2 in the previous games.
Yeah, it just reminds me of you see those Steam reviews every once in a while where it's like somebody with like 500 hours in the game. It's like, I hate this game. It sucks. And it's like, I'm sorry. Clearly, it's not terrible.
I think at 500 hours, that's a fair time to be able to hate a game immensely. Do anything for clean your house for 500 hours and tell me how much you like a clean house after that.
You know what? I guess that is true. I mean, I have a decent amount of hours in Dota 2. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to embarrass myself. But I have a decent amount of hours in Dota 2 and League. And I hate both those games.
I mean, I love Diablo 3, but I am sick of it. I am sick of it. And I put possibly 3,000 hours into it. I don't know, because I played so much before they actually let you keep characters, like for you had to delete characters for the ladders, the seasons.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I lost whole characters that I put hundreds of hours into.
Rip the dream.
So yeah, I could see I can see how that is. But yeah, I mean, back to Kieran, like that is a hard slap in the face for like, I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, this game is too easy." Everyone said Monster Hunter was hard, and they just get like gut punched just like in the moment they get the Kieran. They're like, "Oh, now I see what's going on."
I think part of what helps with that is that Kieran doesn't look quite as intimidating as some other monsters. Like a Dogron looks intimidating. It's a big meat thing, and Xeno looks intimidating because it's big. Then you see Kieran, it's like, oh, a pony.
And he hits like a truck.
I mean,
he hits like Optimus Prime's mean cousin. Like he hits so hard.
Now I'm no brony, but Twilight Sparkle is a force to be reckoned with, so I kind of expected this.
Speaking of ponies and unicorns, my clan name in Halo and Destiny was the Flaming Unicorns.
Nice.
That is an excellent name.
For no reason, but it was because in Halo 3, to piss people off, we used to have pink unicorns as our emblem.
Yes.
Because it was like, what is like the girliest, like least manly thing here, and we chose unicorn, and we would like goose egg kids. It'd be like 50 to 3, and then we would just be like, all right, time to let them get the 49 and then get the last kill, or like it'd be like 49 to 3 and be like, all right, time to let them get a couple of kills and then just screw with them, because after a certain point we really didn't care about KD. We were just we had one friend who was actually like he was like MLG for Halo 2, but he like stopped for Halo 3, but he was still just this insane monster.
I had a couple of friends who were like insanely good at Halo 2 and 3, and we played all together. And we did that too. We kind of messed with people and wrecked them. But I kind of don't want to say it, so I may like bleep it out in editing or something. I don't know. But we were all rainbow colored. So like I would be green. My one friend would be yellow. The other guy would be pink. The other guy would be red or something like that. We were all like these bright, brilliant colors. And we called ourselves. I was Kiwi Douche. The other guy was Banana Douche, and then the other guy was Strawberry Douche. And like, it's all started because I figured out that those were actual things. Like there was actually flavors, and I was like, "Holy cow!"
Oh,
that was like college me being just like like a immature teenager.
Could have just gone down the Power Rangers trail. Nope, flavored douches. Jesus. But yeah, I mean,
oh man,
going back to Kieran, if you do like, there's so much resource out there right now. If you haven't gotten there yet, take 10 minutes out of your day. It'll save you a 50-minute cart fest. Understand that it's mostly lightning damage you're going to be getting hit with. If you can stack resistances, try and get to 20. I found that at least if you hit 20, you can't get Thunder Blighted. I think 20 is the cap there, where elemental blights just don't exist at that point of resistances.
I think you're right, yeah. Good point, though.
Yeah, that's when it turns orange. If you have a friend who plays the hunting horn, get him to bring Teostra's hunting horn. You can negate all the stuns and have divine protection. It's a lifesaver in many situations.
You know what? I was just talking with my roommate about that, and we were wondering, like, okay, what is like protection from status effects? What do you really need that against? And I was like
everything.
Maybe. I was struggling to think of it, and now that you bring it up, yeah, Kieran would be pretty good.
Yeah, not getting paralyzed, not getting stunned. It still brings divine protection to the fight.
And for the Kieran, like, you want these strong, like, drawing hits on the face, because you need to be in and out, and Hunting Horn is still very good for that. So, excellent weapon. Excellent weapon choice.
It's kind of one of those things where you have to balance it, right? Like, if you do a critical draw on Kieran, which I highly recommend, it's a guerrilla warfare type of fight. Get in, do a bunch of damage, dodge some skill shots for a little bit, and then get back in there. If you're doing a critical draw build with anything that hits hard, you're gonna be putting in some good damage, and if you're hitting the right spots, maybe some status effects, some KO damage, just work your magic.
Right. All right. Should we move on to our next tempered milestone marker? I suppose is the correct word.
Well, one thing I want to get into before we move on to basically HR 100 is at that point, after you finish Kieran, you unlock finding tempered tracks for Elder Dragons, which kind of is like the true end game.
Yeah.
So what that does is it unlocks augmentation. And what augmentation is it for armor, it's pretty easy. You just need the third tier of streamstones, which is, you get them in quest rewards all the time with tempereds. I don't think you even need tempered elders to get them. But basically, there's tiers of tempered. There's the lower monsters like Puke Puke, Anjaneth, that kind of stuff. The tougher monsters, which are level 2. And then you have level 3, which are the elders. And the elders are the only ones that can give you there's like, I don't remember what they're called. Basically, the end result is hero stones and warrior stones.
Yeah.
And those are what help you upgrade your weapons. Now, this is where the sort of the end game grind comes in. Whereas it's really easy to augment your armor, just expensive and a ton of armor stones to do it. Because what you do is you basically increase the level cap for upgrading armor significantly for some armors. Like Kushala goes up to level 11 from level 4. So you can get some good defense going on once you unlock those. But these warrior stones and stream stones and all the stuff for the weapons, they have the issue of the randomized drops, and they are tied to specific weapons. So if you're like me and you want longsword hero stones and warrior stones, you need the sword stones. And there's possible to get, like, 7 different stones?
Yeah, each one has 2 different weapon types.
Right. The crazy thing is, like, not only is it difficult to get what you want, but these are also very rare items. Finishing a Tempered Elder only has, a 3% chance to get a Hero Stone, which is what upgrades Rarity 8 weapons.
Ugh, that hurts me. I can't believe you just said that.
Oof.
My ears are bleeding.
Yeah, I watched a video from Gaijin Hunter about how rare that stuff is, and it's 3% for those tempered rewards at the end of an investigation.
Ugh, that's brutal. I mean, that's
to put it in like
that's
some
the game
general
we've chosen to love.
perspective there. I've been farming. I'm probably close to 100 tempered quests or tempered investigations at this moment. Not crazy high, but last night I got my very first augment stone to drop, and it was for a lance, and I don't use lances, so it was like, oh sweet, I locked on augmentation, and okay, back to the grind. Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations, you're a lance player now.
Whoops.
I've gotten so many warrior stones for bow guns.
It's telling you something, man.
And I'm just like, well, they're gonna sit in my box.
It's the desire sensor, man. It knows. It taunts us.
I mean, we'll get into it later, but my desire sensor is not for stones. It's for crowns.
So I have a quick question. Have you guys? You're just speaking of rarity and late game farming stuff. Have you guys been doing the Elder Melder, the third rarity one to get better gems? No, decorations is the word.
I did it first. When you start regularly farming tempered elders, it's a lot of resources wasted for not a lot of.
There will be folks out there that will tell you, just get a save file on a USB drive. You can do it. Just look ahead in the deck of cards. Honestly, the amount of time you have to put into that, in my opinion, is not worth the gain, especially when you could be having fun hunting monsters.
I agree.
Yeah, like I never looked up the tables in the older games for decoration and gem drops.
Same.
And I don't really want to start with this one.
Same here. And
problem is, a lot of stuff I want to make involves getting.
Oh, don't worry about that. You'll get more decorations than you can fit into a pool. You will have so many you won't know what to do with, and a lot of them will be useless for you at that exact moment. But for me, the reward was like, okay, let's see what we rolled on this investigation. You roll and you find you find that decoration that you really really want, and you're like, oh man, this build just came together. I'm psyched.
Yeah. Yep. It's really cool. Sometimes
Other times it's super disheartening.
It's just not. And it's like, oh, here's my. Yep. Oh, here's my 7th fire resistance.
I don't know if this is gonna date the episode or not, but Eric's recently put up a new mix set Monday, and in it he even was in trying to show off a mix set, but he's quoting him. He just couldn't get the luck to find 2 gems he needed. And it's like, Eric's plays a lot. Like, a lot. And if he's still having problems finding gems, maybe I shouldn't rely on finding gems for my sets.
What were they, the expert decorations? No. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, that's what it is.
I don't know when I got it. I just have it. It's kind of like, okay, that's okay, so we'll fit that in somewhere. But, I mean, they're so hard to come across. It's like capacity gems, too. Like
I've only got 1 attack gem.
There's, I'm not sure if you guys watch much on Twitch, but there's a gentleman that goes by the tag Char on there. I think he's on day 21 of 8-hour streams searching for a capacity jewel.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, there are definitely some, like, stuff that just is very tough to come across. But, I mean, once he gets that, I'm sure he'll be ecstatic.
Yeah.
I know, for example, I want a ballistics gem, but, ooh, it's gonna hurt.
I got the ones I wanted, part breakers. I'm not even joking. I love part breaker.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Oh, I guess because part breaker makes it easier for you to get.
Well, not only that, a lot of times it'll stagger a monster when you break apart.
Yep.
Oh. Okay.
So, like, you'll notice, like, in going back to Eric's video, he has a part breaker on the hunting horn. It's great for bludgeoning things in the face, but I mean, if you're not in an ideal position, you can still contribute to the fight by trying to just bust up some parts and try and get a stagger.
Cool. I will say a little self-promotion on that one. I because I've had Eric's on a couple times, I talked to him once in a while, and he told me that he wanted me to submit my build because he thought it was interesting. So eventually I might be on Mixette Monday. But
nice.
Shameless plugs. Look for it. Look for it in the description down below.
I haven't got to see today's episode. I don't think I got it in enough time for him to do it because it was like late last night, which had been like 5 a.m. his time, and it's probably already got the things picked out. So yeah, maybe I'll be on there.
Never know. Maybe he's that crazy type of person where he drinks 5 cups of coffee, then edits a video for 6 hours straight.
Well, I mean, that was launch week for him because he was doing this and DBZ.
Oh, that's right. That's one thing it's just a side note, it's just kind of like a fanboy thing. I admire him for covering so many games. Like he puts time into a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's him. Pretty cool guy.
When you're passionate about something, man, and it helps pay the bills, why not put that much time into it, right?
Yep. And maybe one day I'll actually be able to be here when he's recording.
Oh, jeez. That sucks.
And then you'll be able to shamelessly plug.
Of course.
Yeah.
It'll be a great time.
Yeah. I've interviewed him twice, and both times Lobo missed.
Nice. No, I mean, he puts out really good content. It seems fairly well informed from what I can tell.
Yep.
And that's, as long as there's information out there, why not present it in an entertaining way? And he's done a great job with that.
So
it also helps the fact that he doesn't. Sorry, let my last thing about him. He doesn't do the typical YouTube. Oh, best DPS build 920. That he's just like, hey, here's a fun thing. Have at it. Bye.
Yeah. Yep. So after you've farmed all your heart's content and you've hit HR 100, you get greeted with the final like sort of level cap. And once you beat this, your hunter rank can go above 100 and you turn orange in your numbers, which I have. I think you are to it, Ariel. I don't know if you have you finished it yet?
I haven't done the quest, but I've gotten there.
Okay. And Fry, I know you're not there, and Lobo, you're still trying to get to Kieran.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I talked to. Yeah, I talked about this last week. Me finishing this quest, but basically, short recap: it is 3 tempered elders in one quest. You have to fight in order, I believe. Tempered Kushala, tempered Teostra, and then tempered Nergigante. I do believe that because the way I saw it in the quest, both times I did it, is that the other elders don't show up until the first one disappears from being dead. So it's kind of weird. So you have to finish it, and you have to wait, and then you have to kill the next one, and then wait.
Gives you a little time to recuperate and
yeah,
get your set together.
So long story short, first attempt I flared. Big mistake. I had a light bow gun user who followed me around and did not fire his bow. His cat was more useful.
Team cheerleader.
I mean,
I have a quick question about that then.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is one that's been bugging me. So whenever an Elder Dragon's on scene, it's generally the only thing in the map, yeah?
Generally, yes.
So how is it that Teostra and Nergigante have a fight scene?
It can happen with any Elder's Recess is kind of weird in that regard. I've seen Kusha come in and attack Nergigante while I was fighting him. It's like a brief encounter and he just flies off.
Huh.
I think don't quote me on this. I think Val Hazak can come in and attack and cause a turf war as well.
He can't actually.
No, it's not. It's not Val. It must have been Kusha then.
Yeah, Kusha.
From a great distance, which is where I was standing, they look very similar.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that. They have the same structure.
It gives you a heads up. Like you'll get the turf war bonus, probably 10 seconds before anything even hits, and then
it'll ping on the right.
And then it'll just it's like a bat out of hell, man. It's what a ride. That was hilarious the first time I saw it. I was completely baffled.
Oh yeah. Just so people know, what happens is Nergigante just tosses Kushala. Just nabs him out of the air and throws him. He's like, "Get out of here!"
I like the Teostra one though.
I haven't got to see the Teostra one.
It is a choke slam. Like
excellent.
Grabs Teostra and slams his face down.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Well, he is the Elder Dragon consumer.
Yes.
Eater? I forget.
Yeah, he eats them.
It is kind of a shame that they don't get to see him with Val Hazak then.
But Val has a scene with Odo.
Yes.
Does he?
Oh yeah.
What?
It's excellent.
So
I gotta find this now.
So Odo and him, like basically they have this little standoff where Val is like screaming at him, like, "Go away! I don't want to deal with you today." And then Odo's like, this is my turf, and jumps on him, is standing on his back, and actually pulls off a chunk of meat, if I saw correctly.
What?
Mm-hmm.
But then Val's like, "Okay, I'm done," and he just does his effluenza gas, and it does like 1,000 something damage to Odo, and he falls off. So
man, Odo biting off more than he can chew. Jeez.
Yeah, it's cool. There's an optional quest or something like that it specifically shows up. But I'm just interested to see more variation in some of those quests, because sometimes it is just like the one elder and that's it. But yeah, so back to the HR 100 thing. Basically, some guy kind of tried to cheese the fight. I failed because it was harder for no reason. It was basically me trying to solo a multiplayer quest. It didn't work out. I got very angry. I tried immediately once again, and I did it in 2 carts.
Nice.
Nail, like biting my nails, like almost died several times for the 3rd cart. Got it done. And I got that done the day before I started my new job. So
a nice little little cap to your unemployment, yeah.
Time off, yeah. So it was kind of a special quest to get done. But aside from that, there's not really a lot to say about that quest. At that point, you've already fought a ton of tempered elders. As always, tempered monsters look cool. They got this nice like different coloration, this like highlighted with dark skin and that kind of thing. They look cool, but
like a bit of a metallic
I mean,
sheen to them.
Yeah. Even Kushala looks even more metallic.
Right.
And it's not really. It's kind of weird. It's like the apex of like what you can do in the game as far as like difficulty. And it's just not. It's not that bad if you solo it. I think because they have such reduced health. I died a couple times because honestly it was really late and I was lazy.
Right. That makes sense.
Right. Blame it on you being lazy and tired. Yeah, okay. Didn't cart to Tio's explosion, my butt.
No, I did. I did cart to Teo's explosion. What happened is he started going up, and I was like, okay, I gotta run. And I was in that area that you can sort of break the ground, and it causes little ledges.
Ruthless.
That area. And I tried to roll. So that's my thing. Is like I saw him going up, and I roll to the side to sort of get some distance and then put away the weapon and run. My roll to the side ended up keeping me in place because it was on a ledge. And I was like,
God.
Oops.
Whoops.
And for the record, I call that area the foyer to his den.
Yeah. So he got me with an explosion. That was my second
that
death.
Sucks.
And I think I just got killed with I don't know, just like a random hit that knocked me out with Kushala, and then
you totally walked into a tornado, didn't you?
No.
I died to a Tailstream cart the other day because I went to do the Superman dive. But I did the Superman dive way early.
Oh.
So it was like the bang.
Started standing up and nothing had gone off, looking around.
So like the explosion went off after I hit the ground. It was just in the midst of getting back up.
So you were sunbathing.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a little embarrassing.
So Ariel, are you waiting to do it with a group, or are you just
I'm probably gonna
haven't got the desire?
I need like a full day off, like a day I'm not doing anything, like just mentally prepare myself for it. I don't want to be I don't want to be stressed from work and get frustrated. And I was busy this weekend, so
I can understand that. I did a lot of prep mentally for the Kieran before I did it.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that like it's gonna be way easier by myself. So I'm not gonna just wait for my friends. Not this one. Because the scaling in this is tough. The way they did it, I really don't think it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when the only factor in a fight is your own skill versus the monster, you are gonna see a lot more.
Right,
success,
you're reducing so
especially
many
in difficult
variables.
Fights like that. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So basically after that, there's not really much else to do other than to do what I've been doing, which is crown hunting, and that's just basically for achievements. And I mentioned what crown hunting is earlier and that kind of stuff, but crown hunting is tough. It's a lot of RNG as far as monster sizes.
I mean, as is the rest of the game.
The cool thing is, yeah. So at that point, I'm just going down the hunter's notes, going down the list. Aside from the events, if there's an event that has a higher chance for golden crowns, like there is these past 3 weeks, I do that instead, just because it has I feel like I'm wasting my time less.
Makes sense.
And like I said, I killed 130 Pukes, and still not got one. But hey. So after all of that, I kind of don't have this on the little notes we have here, but I did have a thought. Going forward, we know we're getting Devil Gel. Is there any sort of improvements to the end game you think we'll get, or that we want to get?
I do think that if we get G rank, it comes in an expansion. I don't think it'll be in this game, so I think that's out of the question.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think what we will and what we can get are updates to the weapon trees, because one of the major criticisms of the game is, one, the design, and two, like the designs of the weapons, excuse me, and two is
Mhm.
is like the fact that, like, for example, there's only one water monster weapon tree or something like that. There's it's very limited in a lot of ways, weirdly, despite there being 14 weapons. So I think updates to the weapon tree, additions of rarity 7 and 8 weapons to existing trees, I think is another possibility. And I think that
Mhm.
is what we'll get. That'll give people more things to chase, right? Because the problem with Destiny, the problem with the Division for a while, um, or Destiny specifically, is like, hey, you have a good game on your hands, and there are problems with it, sure, but you've also given us nothing to chase. And Monster Hunter, especially for people like me, it's all about, hey, what am I chasing next? Right? It's me. I'm making short swords, and sword and shields, and I made all the great sword. I'm doing all these things, and so I think Capcom would do well to give you more things to chase, and one of the ways is to, of course, upgrade the weapon trees.
Right.
I would agree. I think the big thing that we have to remember is that coming in the fall or late autumn or late August, I think was the last time that I had seen is the PC release.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's going to be a big turning point because they'll be able to sync up their, and I mean, it's not like Destiny where it was like, 6 weeks down the line we're doing a PC release and it's kind of just a rehashed version. They're taking quite a bit of time to make sure, I hope to make sure that this is going to be a really nice release for the PC, and I think we're going to see a lot of improvements come with the game at that time. That would be a natural point for G rank to be introduced. Um, I mean, and they've said that there's going to be free DLC. I don't know if that's going to pertain to G rank or if it's going to pertain to new monsters or what have you, but they have mentioned that, and that was one of the big selling points, especially as a non or as a previously non Monster Hunter player, was that this game is looking after its player base. It wants to provide content for the players to play and not just suck money out of them. And that was a big draw for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Monster Hunter team is very, very good about that.
But
They always have been.
and like you said, I would love to see some weapon diversity, maybe some cross tree stuff. I think that could be really interesting. Really, just diversify the paths to get to things. Could be interesting. I mean, this coming from a complete outsider to the series, um, you
Sure.
you could uh, diversify some of how you get to weapons, or you need to combine two weapons to get the next weapon, what have you. Do whatever you want. Just make it interesting. Make some hidden stuff that you really have to experiment with and find. That could be a really interesting way to go, albeit, I mean, it could drive some people crazy, trying to find all the combinations. It would drive me crazy, that's for sure, but I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I do want to stress that even though you and our previous guests are first time in Monster Hunter World, I don't think I don't think that should make your opinion any less valid. The only thing that people who've been playing the game for a long time have is just more context,
Right.
right? Each game is a new entry in the series, and it's a new attempt and a new kind of thing. And yeah, we get our expectations high. I mean, how many times did we talk about, oh, we want this monster in Monster Hunter, we want this monster in this, ultimately it's not up to us. We got to deal with what we got. But we just have a context of, oh, this monster was great. I mean, fan favorites like Tigrex, Zenogre, all this stuff. We can hope for it all day, but like we're here and now we're dealing with what we got.
Yeah, no, I totally feel it. I say an outsider's perspective, just more as a turn of phrase, as like, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. By no means am I a
Sure.
Capcom expert. I've got the inside scoop. I've got my buddy Joe on the line. He's giving me the info. It's great. Joe from Capcom. He's in accounting. But like, it's been such a pleasure to be part of the Monster Hunter community. It's probably one of the most inviting communities I've ever seen. which for an internet troll based era is kind of refreshing. You don't see it too often, and when you do, as a lot of people have seen, they latch on to it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean the more community feedback that the game gets, I think it's going to be the only way the game, not the only way, but it'll be a great way for the game to take advantage of and improve. And that's something that not a lot of games do these days. It's kind of just like, hey, there's the horse that spits out money. Let's keep hitting it. But in regards to end game kind of goals, you mentioned you're all about crown hunting right now and finishing off those achievements. I know a good buddy of mine. He's literally just trying to he's a big he loves fishing mini games, although albeit this one isn't all that in depth. He's literally just fishing to see what he can catch and if there's something like super duper rare that nobody knows about. Yeah, just like fun little tasks for yourself in the end game, man. It's all the game's what you make it, right?
True.
Yeah,
it is.
makes sense.
I want to make a comment on the welcoming of the community. That's been something that's been since the first Monster Hunter, and I think what it was is it was very new in the internet age where like not everyone was cynical about it yet. Sure, there was trolls back then. It's not saying it was perfect, but I remember from my very first online interactions with Monster Hunter, which honestly was my first online game. It was stuff like always say good job after a hunt, always say thank you when someone gives you something. Like there was like a lot of like just expected manners in the game. And I don't remember if this was sort of like a collective group thing or someone started it or that kind of thing. And I've mentioned this guy a couple times, but he was a kid. I was like 15 or so when I started playing when it first came out. And it was maybe not 15, maybe a little older. I don't know, but he was a few years younger than me. So let's say I was in high school and he was in middle school. And I played with this kid from New York. And we always, we stressed to be like super nice to people and help people out. And that's, kind of what got me to the Four Horns is he was the one that finally helped me defeat Four Horns, which was very iconic, very difficult double Diablos quest that was basically like the toughest thing you could fight in that area of the game. Because it took timing out was a real issue if you weren't playing at the top of your game. It was actually that hard. And we would just help people out. We would go into rooms and say, "What do you need done? Let's do it." I just remember this whole like mentality of help each other. It's a cooperative game. We're working together. Be nice, be kind, and that kind of stuff. And I thought that was just something that him and I did. So I saw some other people doing it too, but as I got into Monster Hunter communities later in life, I saw that still there, and that's sort of what attracted me to it, and sort of got me sort of hyper involved, like I am now.
For sure. I mean, it's a good way to be, especially once you start getting towards the end game in Monster Hunter world. You're gonna start seeing, less and less mistakes, and then, some people get more toxic, based on, silly mistakes that people make. But I mean, we were all there once. I'm there pretty much constantly. Yeah. It's just a fact of life, man. Sometimes you miss a telegraph and get slapped in the face by a Kieran lightning bolt. Like that's gonna happen. But I mean, you can just, as long as you're brushing yourself off and having a good time. I mean, it's just a game. In the end of the day, it's a passion for a lot of people, and you got to respect that. But I mean, a lot of us are just here to have fun, here to doot our way to victory,
or poke, or slam, or
yeah, or however you get to victory, do that.
Absolutely,
just keep doing it.
Cool.
Bullets.
Or bullets. Yeah.
So many bullets.
So For me, I just want to see more monsters.
I'd love to see it too,
That's
man.
it.
Oh, with the
Devil Joe coming is going to revitalize
Yeah.
it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
I have a fun theory about Devil Joe.
Uh-huh.
So we have our armor charm and our attack charm, yeah?
Okay.
And then instead of Devil Joe parts, we use Betelgeuse to do it this time.
Yes.
So I have a feeling when Devil Joe comes, maybe we'll get to combine the Power Talon with a Devil Joe Talon to make a Super Power Talon.
interesting.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll have both the invading monsters both contributing to this armor or this Power Talon and become like crazy strong. Also, I hope that Beetle and Devil have a monster showdown just because they're both that type of thing.
I agree. Yeah, and I hear that. I think they said that Basilicus has no turf wars.
Yeah.
And that'd be really
Right.
cool if like that's their only turf war. It's just the two of them.
I
just
would
being dicks
I
to
would
each
drool.
other.
I have an imagination of Basil will be flying overhead trying to do his bombing
Right.
run, and Devil Joe jumps up and grabs him by the neck and slams him out of the air.
You just don't like Basil.
Bombing run denied.
Plot thwarted.
I think one of the interesting things that they could do with this game with a monster is to introduce the Gormagala, and to just have that be another subset of like monsters you could fight, like tempered, or you have the infected ones. You have infected, you have tempered, and then you could have like infected, tempered, and it's just these monsters that hit you insanely hard. Kind of a pseudo G rank until we get that, until we finally get it.
I'm not a fan of the frenzy virus. I'm okay with it in the context of fighting gore, but on other monsters, I didn't like it. It was weird because it was like the monsters were more aggressive. You could knock them out of it, but they would get back into it, which didn't make a lot of story sense. Of course, Apex was even worse.
I agree with Apex does not need to return to this game. Tempered is good enough in terms of that type of mechanic.
Yeah, it's just I'm a
Frenzied Odogaron.
yeah, no. I don't want any frenzy either. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I like gore. There's nothing wrong with gore. I just don't like gore's frenzy virus applied to other monsters.
I feel you.
It just not something I enjoyed personally. I'm kind of hoping they kind of, as the Easy Allies put it, shadow drop another monster with a Devil Joe update.
I think they will.
Oh, just put another thing in without announcing it?
Or announcing it with Devil Joe like day before. You're also getting this, and I really hope it's Cutku. I really want it to be Cutku.
Oh, why?
Because Cutku is... I know, you guys are all
At
in the
least
later
give us
generation.
Garuga. Garuga at least has a cool cape, and his armor doesn't look like butt.
Fair point.
I know, but it's just the nostalgia in me. Cutku was the monster that made me fall in love with the game.
It's so cute.
So
Was it?
yeah. Have you never heard this, Lobo?
I don't think so.
Very first time I booted up Monster Hunter, I immediately went into an online quest. Right, they didn't have a tutorial or anything that I had to go through, or maybe they did and I don't remember it, and it was super fast, and I clicked through it all because I don't care. And then I get online. I'm sure you guys. Sure you've played with them, Lobo. They're the friends that I have online now. So
Yeah.
Lazy Bones and Shallows. And then there was another one that doesn't play with us right now. And they were like, come in this area. And of course, loading zones, right? I go in the jungle. I'm trying to find my way. And they're like, no, you went the wrong way. No, you went the wrong way. By the way, this is all through text. It was keyboards hooked up to our PS2s. So I walk into, it's called Area 2 of the jungle. It's a very long area. Very, like, there's not a lot of width, a lot of length.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And they're like, I can see their names off in the distance, like through the trees, because the text for some reason overlaid on the trees. And I hear this, whatever Kuku's noise is, like wah 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 wah. I hear like that. I'm like, what is going on? And then there's this giant Kuku running at me, and I'm like, what? And then it hits me, and it zones me back into the other area.
Classic.
And I'm like, what was that? Like all caps on the keyboard. And then I was like, that was cool. And I go in and I can't do anything to it because I had the original like
Leather.
yellow sharpness leather armor sword and shield, because they didn't used to give you all the weapons. They gave you a sword and shield and said make the other ones. And like I was just like, okay, and I bounced constantly. I couldn't break his armor, so I was just like, yeah, dink. Yeah, dink. Like it was just like the most like, holy cow, what am I getting into? It was just like a slap in the face, and I was hooked like from that on. And crazy thing is, that was the one quest I got to do, and then I went on a family vacation to Georgia for 2 weeks, and I had to sit there and think about that one quest for 2 weeks.
Oh,
So,
I like that opening though. That's a fun way of being introduced to something.
yeah, I've told this many times. My friends just convinced me to buy it. I had never played it, and then I sunk all my Christmas money into the game, and then on a bet basically, and I far more of a fan than they are.
Do you see what you've turned me into?
Yeah.
Well, how about this? If you get your Yakuku, I get my Ragi, because I want my cool cowboy armor.
I remember that thing.
Yeah, it was the added Joggy clone ish. Cool. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good subset of like what the end game is. Does anyone else have thoughts?
Yeah, my final thought, and something I mentioned earlier, is that as you reach HR 100, as you reach mixed armor sets and whatever, if you've played the game as much as we have, 200 plus hours, you tend to run out of things to do. There will be a point where you'll reach your last crown, and I'm almost hitting that point. So what I've started doing is trying to make every weapon, and I made every greatsword about the workshop. I've made I think 10 sword and shields already. I'm just going down the line and obsessively making weapons. It forces you to diversify not only the weapons you use, which changes your game experience, but also the monsters you fight, so you don't get bored of and I do it by weapon so that I'm not fighting 400 Rathians in a row trying to get 14 rubies or whatever.
Now, quick question: do you force yourself to use the weapon that you're making?
No, but I'm forcing myself to not use my two main weapons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So my friend and I both have this thing. It was like, all right, we need to hit at least 30 with every weapon. So like I've got like 200 greatsword hunts, 100 sword and shield, but after that it's like 80 light bow gun, and then just a few here and there. So right now I'm working on Lancer Charge Blade, and since I already have 100 hunts on the sword and shield, I don't need to be using it while I'm making those trees.
Right.
I actually saw an interesting challenge quest. I don't know if you want to call it that in Monster Hunter. And this is one of those I've reached endgame, I'm out of stuff to do things.
Mm-hmm.
It was we kind of did this in World of Warcraft with there were marathon dungeon runs.
Yeah.
What you do is you start off with the original leather gear and one weapon of your choice of the starting like bone or ore, and then you do the first quest, and then you only using what you got from that quest, you make something from that. And then you just try to do the second quest with that. In other words, like no off grinding, no off gathering of the material quests. Whatever you get in your quest, you have to use that to do the next one.
That's tough.
I guarantee you I'll be bone armor by the time I hit tempered.
So that's it is tough, but it forces you to know like, okay, where can I gather for the stuff I need to use, and what monsters can appear in this particular map along with the quest monster.
Okay.
Back in World of Warcraft, it was the same concept. It's just you just had to do the quests or the dungeons from the lowest level dungeon possible up to the highest, and you only got to run them once, and you just had to use what you
Make
found
you really use that 50-minute timer.
Yeah, and I just think it'd probably be easiest to do on just a new save file. So that way you don't have to, keep track of, I made this during or I farmed this. Just make a new save file and just
Hear that,
try to
Capcom? We found a
Iron
use
Man
for
your
your
way
save
through it.
files.
Yeah, I was gonna say I won't do it, but there's a single use I've heard for the save files.
I've heard others as if you want a male and a female character because some armors look better.
It's not
Yeah,
worth the
okay.
grind, though.
I
There's
won't
too much
argue with
grind
that.
to get to that
Yeah.
point, which I'm gonna have to do all over again for the PC. I'm already dreading it. I think about it all the time.
Must be tough playing a game this
Yeah.
fun on a different console. Man.
I had to promise my friend that I also play with him on PC, and so I am gonna have to redo everything on PC.
Oof.
Yeah, I did say that to some people too. Shady Figure was one. So,
One I'm concerned with is the side note about PC Monster Hunter.
Mhm.
How are they going to make bow guns and bows not the greatest thing in existence with mouse aiming?
I know. I mean, they might. What I think they might do is limit, maybe even weaken your armor even more. I mean, it's pretty tough with the heavy bow gun. Your mobility, so you're not at a crazy huge advantage even with the mouse aiming. But yeah, that's gonna be tough.
yeah, I don't think it'll affect much, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the bow guns, yeah, they're better that you can aim better on the PlayStation now or the Xbox, right? But being so pinpoint accurate isn't exactly what makes the bow gun like shine. You know what I mean? It's the other aspects of bow guns, it being ranged and that kind of stuff. The fact that you can hit it in the eye means no difference if you just hit it in the head. Like, it's just
Oh yeah, true. I'm just thinking it'll be a lot easier to hit weak points, so it's less like, oh, you moved at the last second, or I'm
Okay.
slightly off on my right thumbstick, and now like because me personally, I am garbage at shooters on twins with a controller. I can't do it.
Mhm.
But if I'm mouse and keyboard, laser sights.
Yeah. So one last note to what you said, Ariel, about having those sort of goalposts when you're done. I do have one after ground hunting, and that is making at least one set per weapon. So I want to make an armor set.
That's another good one.
So I've already planned out what I want for hammer. I already have done that with bow. And I'm not talking like what I did with longsword is like I have a set that I use mainly, and then I made a couple sets just to goof around to explore different aspects of longsword. But what I want to do is make a set that I was like, this is my hammer set I use when I use hammer, right? So like it's sort of like all-purpose hammer set, all-purpose bow set, that kind of thing. So that's my goalpost when I'm done. Granted, that will be finished very quickly after I hit crown hunting because I will have a lot of
absolutely.
materials.
Yeah, I have that with my greatsword and my sword and shield. The greatsword's got the basil and the Damascus mix with 2 triple gems on the Jagger's hacker. So for the earplugs, but yeah, that's another thing I got to do. I only have those 2, and of course those are the first 2. But I think hammer's next. So got a lot of work to do.
Yep. I mean, 300 hours in, I expect another at least 200 hours before I'm done crown hunting.
Jeez.
So
I'm gonna laugh if Puke is the
It will
last
be.
crown you get.
it won't be because I won't move on from it unless other events make. I'm just
Really?
That's just how I am. I mean,
Alright.
I only moved on because it's easier to get these other events done. As soon as those events done, that like, hey, there's no gold crown events, I'm gonna go back to Puke, and I'm not gonna move off of Puke. It's not that I
dedication's admiral.
It's not that I just hunt Puke though. I have quests. It's like, okay, I also need a small Rathalos, so I'm gonna do a Puke and a Rathalos, and there's also a whatever on this map, and I'll kill that too. So I hunt everything on the map, right? And if I need
that
it.
makes sense.
So I'm not just doing Puke per se. I could be going a lot faster if I just get like a investigation for Puke, kill it, done, kill it, done, kill it, done. I don't do that. That's not fun to me. So
Okay.
cool.
And you said you're also doing high rank versions, right? You're not crown farming in low rank.
Nope, doing high rank.
Yeah, so that's a big thing to note.
Yeah, that's also why I have 78
Oh my
bird
God.
weapons.
Dear Lord, sir.
Dang.
Doesn't help that I
Full
keep
of-
getting them from Tsutsuyaku in this recent quest in the Coral Highlands that has crown hunting.
See, now you have to make me sad. How much money do you have?
I just broke 3 million today
Jeez. I never had more than 1.5
because I don't
I
build
too
anything.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, for some reason, still use the money getter
Bandit.
mantle.
Yeah, I still got
Yeah,
the
the
6
bandit.
digits because I just.
Hey
made
man,
too
don't
much.
worry. I hardly ever break 100,000. And when I do, it's like, oh man, I've been slacking on craft and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go spend 6 hours doing that.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think we need to cut it off here for time's sake, at least. So,
For sure.
thanks for coming on, Fry. It's cool.
Oh, it was a
having
pleasure being here, man. Got to learn a lot.
you. Thanks as always, Ariel and Lobo.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Hey guys, this is at Fortuan signing off, and we'll see you next quest. And speaking of which, Ariel, where can we find you then?
Or you can find me on Twitter at DreadPirateRada. Lobo, where can they find you or try to find you and maybe not succeed?
So this week you can find me fighting at the gates of Valhalla.
Okay.
How about you, Fry?
You guys can find me on Twitter at DarkFry, or lounging around in your local cafe. I'll be there.
Alrighty. Well, thanks guys for listening, and I guess we'll be in Valhalla.
Yes.
Thor all the way.
Real than Mjolnir.
Bad news, the world's ending. Sorry.
Oh, I thought Thank you, hunters, for listening today. You can catch us on SoundCloud or any past episodes on Google Drive download or YouTube.